collectors, and welcome to another Bossk Bounty video, and welcome to episode 201 of Ask Bossk Bounty. This is the weekly Q&A series that drops every Sunday, where I take your questions from the comment section below and do my best to answer them. Now, because last week's episode was episode 200, it was a special, it was a live stream, I don't have as many questions this week to answer in episode 201, because I didn't really ask you to leave them in the comment section below. So next week's episode, episode 202, please make sure you have your questions in the comment section below of this video, so we can make that episode more packed out with your questions. Having said that, I do have a few questions to answer in this video, and maybe I'll go into a little bit more detail than I usually would with my answers. I just want to talk about a few things that have happened recently. Of course, last night's live stream was the final of Last Figure Standing, where the Tonica sisters took the crown. I hope you've all checked out that live stream. If you haven't, it is on the channel for you to check out. It was awesome fun doing it. I want to thank everybody that was involved. Yeah, it was just great. Also, I will be doing a video for Figure of the Year, so your best vintage collection figure for 2023. The voting for that is already available. There is a link to the Google form in the description below, and I'll also put it as the pinned comment as well. So cast your vote for the best figure of 2023, and then before the year is out, I will make a video showing maybe the top 5 voted for the Figure of the Year 2023. So be sure to do that, as well as leaving your question for next week's episode. And of course, I'd like to wish everybody a happy holidays or Merry Christmas. Whatever it is that you celebrate at this time of year, I just wish you all the best, you and your families. I hope you have a great time, you know, spend it together, you know, really cherish these moments. It's a great time of year. So happy holidays to everybody. As I say, I hope you have a great time. If you do happen to enjoy this video, hit the like button down below, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and let's get into this. Mitchell Gum says, sad I missed the live stream, but I had to parent. Great video, Tim. Question for next week. Since you were all talking 4-packs, here's my question. 4-pack white box. Here are your 3 choices. What's your number 1 choice for 2024? Jawas, Ugnaughts, or Ewoks? This is really, really difficult because I would have said if it is this year, 100% I would have want the Ewoks. Jawas for me, I think I've got enough Jawas. I've got enough different Jawas through the Legacy Collection and the Vintage Collection, Black Series 3.75. I just have enough Jawas. I don't think I need a 4-pack of those particularly. Ugnaughts is an interesting one because we do need those for the Carbon Freezing Chamber playset. However, selfishly, I do already have both of the Legacy Collection versions of the Ugnaught. Do I need any other versions of those Ugnaughts? Probably not. So still, I think I would have to go with the Ewoks. There are definitely some Ewoks that I do want, but to be honest, I don't want them in a white box because the Ewoks that I do want are still original 96s. So we've got Chief Chirper that they still need to do. We've got Warwick and we've got Romba. So maybe they could do like a carded 4-pack or 3-pack of those last remaining, you know, original 96 Ewoks. That would be pretty cool. So in terms of your question of the white boxes, out of those 3, I'd probably have to go with Ugnaughts. John Chul says, since it's the big Phantom Menace anniversary, how about a market scene with Sebulba Fig and or that frog seller? Sorry, I forgot his name. Did I ever know it? I don't know. Guess you could do a pod garage scene, or garage, depending on how you say that. Guess they could sell a bag of sand and we could make a desert conflict scene between Qui-Gon and Maul. Yeah, I could just imagine Hasbro selling us a bag of sand. That would almost equal the rocks that you could get with the Black Series Rancor HasLab campaign. How amazing would that be? A bag of sand to go with your playset. But with all seriousness, I love the Phantom Menace. I'm not too sure about a market scene maybe. I think what I would personally like is a Watto's like workshop maybe, with some pit droids and some other bits and bobs. We desperately need Watto in the line, in my opinion. But then again, there is still a lot for them to do from the Phantom Menace. And I believe the Black Series have had Sebulba pipelined, have they not? So he would be a good character as well as Watto to have in the Vintage Collection. Those 2 would be pretty good on card as well. Dean Backhouse, SWTVC Rebels, says, question for next week. In future, when HasLabs are being backed, would people still back 5 as investments with the knowledge now that they will be released again in the future when Hasbro decides to open the HasLab vault. This could drastically affect funding of future HasLabs. So if anyone's not aware of what happened, Hasbro Pulse had a thing for their premium members where for a very short period of time you could go on and you could buy one of the HasLabs that they had available. Now, I'm not a premium member of Hasbro Pulse, so I didn't get to do that, but I understand the Ghostbusters backpack, Proton Pack or whatever it's called, was one of them. I think the Transformers Unicron was another one. I'm not 100% sure if there's any Star Wars ones available. I really don't know. However, in terms of your question about will it affect the backing, I think there's every possibility. They need to be a little bit careful with this sort of thing, with how they word it at the very beginning of each HasLab. This is the only opportunity that you're going to be able to get this item, blah, blah, blah. Because if they're going to be, reissuing them or making them available again after the fact, then that is a bit of a dangerous game to play. However, I think with the Vintage Collection and whatever the next HasLab will be, I always feel at the time there is a sort of big backing for it and a big excitement for whatever the item is. And I think it will back. You're right in terms of, maybe people not buying them so much in terms of investments, like multiple ones of them. That might affect the backing. It might do. But it's not as if they've reissued it. It's obviously just some overstock which they've got for maybe faulty items. Having that stock ready just in case someone's got a problem with theirs and they need to replace it or whatever. They've obviously gone past that period of time. There's no more complaints. There's no more people sending them back. And they've got, I don't know, maybe 50 to 100 left over. And they're probably just offering them that way. I don't think they're sort of going to the factory and getting them made again or having a run of them again to sell via this vault thing that they were doing. I'm pretty sure it's just overstock. The problem will come if they start reissuing them down the line. That's when they jeopardize the whole model of the HasLab and the whole, you can only get this one time. If you back it, you have to back it right now, etc. Damien Addington says, hello there, BB. Great video as always. Question for next week. Is there any chance that Hasbro will make new Star Wars Battlefront figures for TVC, particularly the Imperial Shock Trooper, Imperial Jump Trooper, and Imperial Magna Trooper? Just to name a few, thank you in advance. I think there is every chance that we will get gaming figures in the future. Emily, the lead designer from Hasbro, the Vintage Collection, was in the chat of our Last Figure Standing live stream yesterday, and at some point during the stream we were talking about gaming figures and things like that, and she put in the comments something about that she loves gaming figures or whatever. So when you've got people like that in the organization that are sort of shouting for these figures, then they've got a lot more chance of being made. Things like the Jump Trooper and the Shock Trooper, I think, are ones that they could easily do. Whether they'll be under the sort of moniker or branding of Gaming Greats, I don't know whether that's a finished thing anymore or if it's still going. Whether they'll do it under that, I don't know. But in terms of just gaming figures, then 100%. They'll still do them, without doubt. Peter says, hey boss, congratulations on your 200th episode. Thank you, buddy. He says, question for next week. Do you think that Hasbro will continue to make TVC figures from the Book of Boba Fett? Still waiting for the Rancor, but smaller like the Power of the Force one with a better paint job and more moving joints. Would love to see some small, medium-sized vehicles released, especially Cobb Vanth's Speeder. Also, I think super detailed Sandcrawler inside and out would be great HasLab project. Thoughts? Anyway, hope you feel better and happy holidays. Cheers. I'm always backing a Sandcrawler for HasLab. I would love for them to do that. As I've said before, they could combine it with the Mandalorian and A New Hope, make it customizable or whatever. But yeah, a super detailed inside and out Sandcrawler for me would be a great HasLab. In terms of the Book of Boba Fett, I see no reason why we can't get any more figures from the Book of Boba Fett. Obviously, it's not going to be front runner on their list of things to do. They've got new media, Ahsoka, Mandalorian Season 3 coming up, all that kind of stuff to do. And I wouldn't say there's a great deal still left to do from the Book of Boba Fett, in my opinion. Got a couple of the good ones here. Chrysanthemum and Cad Bane there. Could those be figure of the year for you? But in terms of what's left to do, just thinking out loud, we've got the Pike Syndicate. So I've got Key Tolsite there. He's a Pike. So, they could potentially look a little bit like that. That would be pretty cool. Cobb Vanth, Sheriff Cobb Vanth still to do. Obviously, we need him badly to go with Mr. Cad Bane there. Apart from that, I don't know if there's a great deal else that I would really want. Of course, there's some background characters. You've got the lady in the cantina, the Twi'lek, and plenty of others. But, you know, are they realistically going to get made when we're still after sort of background characters from other medias? But in terms of the main characters or main troopers, definitely the Pikes. And, you know, the biggest one missing is Cobb Vanth, without a doubt. Damien Whitaker says, question for next week. In the Black Series, they have released gimmicky figures, Christmas-themed figures, and hologram figures come to mind. Why do you think they have spared TVC these days of figures, considering the Vintage Collection got the carbonized figures? Interested in your thoughts. Yeah, it's a good question, this one. I think with the carbonized figures, that the second wave at least, I don't think was a big seller for them. I think you can still even get those figures now. You know, who really needs a carbonized version of Moff Gideon? I just think that's ridiculous. Yeah, gimmicky is definitely the word. So why have we been spared Christmas themed figures and hologram figures and things like that? I think basically those sorts of figures fit the Black Series a little bit more. I think the Black Series is more of a mainstream line. I think it's the hardcore collectors that collect the Vintage Collection. You know, a lot of the people that collect the Vintage Collection are interested in it because of the card backs and that whole nostalgia buzz that they get from the card backs. And I think, you know, we do still get kind of gimmicky things like, you know, this one, I realise it is from a comic, so it's not really a gimmick, but, you know, painting one of the Fets up that colour and the Kenner colours one and the other vintage comic one, I would still say that that's kind of gimmicky. They're not figures from media that you could actually fit in with, you know, you can't put that guy next to Chrysanthemum. It just doesn't work. So from my point of view, those are still a little bit gimmicky. However, they're nowhere near as gimmicky as like Christmas figures and maybe even the hologram figures to a certain extent, but definitely the Christmas ones. My opinion is that needs to stay away from the Vintage Collection. I really don't need Christmas coloured figures in the Vintage Collection, even if they're extra to what we already get. I personally wouldn't buy them. They wouldn't be for me. We got Life Day Chewie. He isn't numbered in the Vintage Collection, and he was only available on Shop Disney and at the parks themselves. So again, is that a gimmicky figure? I don't know. Some people would say no. But there you go. So we do still kind of get them in the Vintage Collection, but nowhere near as much as the Black Series. And I think it's to do with the audience, basically. I don't think the Vintage Collection suits the gimmicky figures as much as it does in the Black Series. I think they can just get away with it more in the Black Series, and they can put them out in Walmart, and you know, your average person will just go along and see Boba Fett coloured in Christmas tree colours or whatever and think, oh yeah, that's great. I'll buy it for my friend as a, you know, a funny gift or whatever. But yeah, that's my opinion on that. Alright then guys, that's it for this week's episode 201 of Ask Bossk Bounty. If you would like this series to continue, please leave your question in the comment section below, so that we have more to go off for next week's episode, which will be episode 202. Please remember to vote for your figure of the year. The link is in the description and as the pinned comment. So make sure you do that, and I will make a video about figure of the year. Thank you all for watching, and thank you to everybody for the support that you've given my channel this year, especially to my Patreon supporters and channel members that have stuck with me ever since I've set those platforms up, and have continued to support me in that way. I really do appreciate it, and I love you know, communicating with you on the Discord channel as well. That's some of my best time spent is talking to you guys on there and checking out what you're posting and things like that. So thank you so much everybody for watching, and we shall see you on the next one.